This is our coaches panel, ladies and gentlemen. We have four dynamic coaches who are coming up with us right now. The first is Miss Charlotte E. Terrell, transformational coach, speaker, author of Born to Break Barriers. She provides that when she steps into, she provides that powered by purpose, women, and unstoppable. Okay, she's very unstoppable. She has the purpose, and she's powered by that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Charlotte E. Terrell. Next up is Jania Barnes. Jania is a career transition and leadership coach who's helped hundreds of people step into lives and fulfilling careers that they love. Again, Jania Barnes. Okay, this is my guy right here. I love his name, Ronnie Tsunami, ladies and gentlemen. Motivational speaker, business and technology strategist with more than 28 years of experience in building and launching learning solutions that have been implemented in thousands of academic institutions and enterprise organizations around the world. Ronnie Tsunami, you know he's going to bring the storm, ladies and gentlemen. Last but not least, we have Miss Katrina Hayes. Katrina is an autism advocate and certified mental health coach. She's on a mission to show women how to supercharge their confidence, amplify their powerful voices, and infuse their hectic lives with peace-inducing self-care. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome all of our panelists. Welcome, folks.
Aloha.
Hello.
We thank you. How are you enjoying the summit so far?
Awesome.
Loving it.
Energy's here. Energy's here. You can feel it.
It is. It is. It is. It really is. It really is. So we're just going to have a conversation around a little bit about what you folks do, a bit about your story for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll dialogue amongst ourselves. So Charlotte, I want you to start off. Aside from what I read about you, tell us a little bit about what caused you to get into the work that you're doing right now.
I've been in the field for a number of years as a mental health professional as well as an educator. And what I have been seeing is people struggling in the areas of what I like to call the 3 C's. I heard some C's earlier, but the C's I like to utilize and to help people with is to support them in communication, coping, confidence, and I've recently added compassion because it's so important for people to have compassion, not only on others, but have compassion on yourself. Give yourself some grace. We've all been bumped around by life. And so it's important to understand that it's okay. Like I heard earlier also, it's okay to not be okay, but plug into those supports. Trust in that God that you believe in. Get into a situation where you are face to face with sitting in the pain, but utilizing the tools to navigate and to get out of the pain, get out of those situations, and surround yourself with people and situations that can assist you in doing that. So I really wanted to make sure that people are okay and knowing that they're not alone.
Awesome. Do you yourself have any personal experiences that you draw on that motivated you?
Oh, absolutely. I was in a situation with my then husband who threatened to kill me. And in the midst of that, I lost a baby. I had to run because he wanted to kill me. So I wound up leaving everything that I knew, my living situation, my job, my car even. And I was like, I'm hitting rock bottom. I got all these degrees and all this experience. And I was raised from good stock. And, this is not me. But my former husband was on drugs. And after he threatened to kill me and after I ran, I was at rock bottom. And I said, why am I here? And I heard the voice of God say, you're worth saving. And from that instance on, I realized that not only am I worth saving, but I made it my mission and my charge to let other people know that they're worth saving and help them to identify that value, rediscover their peace, their power, and their happiness. Awesome. So that's been my charge.
That's a powerful story, and it goes right back to my statement that your purpose is often disguised in your pain.
Absolutely.
It is.
Often disguised. Jania, welcome.
Hello, thank you. It's actually Janaea.
Janaea, forgive me.
It's
for that.
okay, it happens. My name is Janaea Barnes. I'm a career empowerment coach, and I help people step into and find the right jobs and the right careers that light them up. We've been talking a lot about purpose here, and yes, so much of our purpose comes, I think, from our story. I know for me, my past, I definitely had, you could say, a big triple, quadruple, even bigger decker sandwich of different kinds of trauma. And I spent most of my life chasing just trying to feel better. I did all the things. I walked 500 miles. I did ayahuasca ceremonies. I did therapy. I did hypnotherapy. I shamanic healings, you name it, I did it. And it took me 20 years before I could really tap into who I truly am, who I'm born to be, and really connect with what I'm here to do. And that's a really long road. And I don't think that everybody should have to walk that long of a path. And so when I started discovering the things that worked, I studied them so that I could make that path much shorter for all of you. And so that is why I'm here. I'm here to help evolve and heal. And you know, one of the things that we get to build our self-esteem and our self-worth is through our career. It's an important piece of how we survive. And so I've taken my skills and my learnings and really taken it to hone people into being able to access that part of their life fully, which of course ripples out into all of the other parts of life too. That's the side effect.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. You bring up a good point, Janaea, about time and how 20 years conceivably seems like a lifetime. You know, it could be a third or close to a third of someone's life, actually. But in reality, it takes as long as it takes. You know, I heard from Les Brown, he made this point that a Chinese bamboo tree, right, it takes 5 years before it even breaks ground and starts to grow. But it needs to be watered every single day for 5 years. Now, you talk about faith, right? You talk about having vision and not just sight. Because what you see in front of you is nothing. But knowing that there is an end destination, it's quite so often. I want to make the point and tie it in. And by the way, it sprouts in 5 weeks after that. It grows to full length in 5 weeks. So 5 years underground, it must be watered every single day. And then in 5 weeks, it meets its or it reaches its maximum potential. And we are so parallel to that as human beings. You know, we're going through things and you can't see the results but you can't give up. You have to keep going. And before I move on to Ronnie, I just wanted to know one specific life experience for you that helped propel you into the work. And I do this for the audience to be able to really identify.
Yeah, there were so many, and I'm speaking tomorrow, so I will share so many of those stories tomorrow. But I want to give you all this because I think everyone can tap into this.
Yes.
There was this point when I had this memory of myself at 3 years old, and it was before most of the terrible things that happened to me, and I could tap into what it felt like to be me before all of the pain. And so I used that memory of just every time I would step inside it and I would feel the feelings of being me, tapping into that joy and feeling what it felt like without the pain. And every step that I took on my healing journey, like, does this bring me closer to that? Or does it take me further away? Mm-hmm. And I knew the other piece of that is I knew, because if you have felt good at one point in your life, you've really had a moment of overflowing joy. Now you know that it's possible to feel that way. So let that be your anchor to guide you, because if you felt it once, it's possible to keep feeling it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. My man Ronnie.
Aloha. Aloha and mahalo. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this distinguished panel. I love all of you.
Yes.
Inspiring, motivating. Basically, my mission in life is to help those who help others succeed. So helping coaches, speakers, authors, transformational leaders is really what I get my kick in. Built a lot of programs, but it's just trying to do my part. We all have a mission, a purpose, and I just love giving people hope. And I think my journey, Stephen, to your point in terms of like what really motivated me, in 2014, I couldn't walk or see. I had heavy inflammation in my joints, was walking with a cane, and then my eyes started shaking every 3 to 5 minutes. So basically I had vertigo every 3 minutes. Wow. So it became very debilitating. By 2015, I was bedridden, and I almost gave up. I said, "Oh, lived a good life, did a lot." Career, at that point, I learned about lifestyle changes. Being a Hawaiian, wasn't easy to change my lifestyle in terms of diet, for instance, or other things, but I did. And within a few weeks, I was able to heal, could walk, and after going to a whole food plant-based diet, ended up being able to actually my eyes stopped shaking. So it changed my whole life. And I said, I will help every coach, speaker, author again, because they helped me in this transformation. And so I've dedicated my life to that and using technology. I'm a business technology strategist. So how do we accelerate? How do we tsunami size? How do we go big and fast? Because as I say, for every hour, every minute, every second, someone's message doesn't get out there to help others. And we all have that ability to share a lesson learned, right? It's just that some take a bigger jump in doing that. Then I'm going to do everything I can to make sure their message is heard to as many people as possible.
Awesome. So I guess it's really appropriate to say it's really good to see you, Ronnie.
Yes, very much so. I resonate with your story.
Yes. Thank you for that. That's a phenomenal story. And just one of so many. We all have one of those stories where if we gave up, just think about it. If we would have given up, we wouldn't be here. And so often, you hear the phrase, keep your eye on the prize. And what I've learned through my life experiences is that the prize is in the process. Getting through the going through is where you build strength, where you build character, where you build experience to be able to reach back and help someone else.
Yes. Hope is one thing. We all give hope. Taking action is another.
Absolutely.
And I think that moving forward, and I encourage everyone, so many great speakers. I saw the lineup and I said, oh my gosh. Now, taking hope and inspiration is great, but implementation is the third piece. And just write down notes. And I feel like everyone here has a plan of action to help others.
Absolutely. Darren, come on in. Join the conversation.
Well, we lost someone.
I think we lost Katrina.
Yes.
We'll have Carissa and Matt bring her back in, but for now, please join us.
I was going to interject when we did the go around, but since we're all of us together, first of all, thank you all for being part of this panel. I love it. And I love the stories that you're going to share, especially tomorrow and then today in your coaching sessions. But I like what you said, Ronnie, because your mission, I like what everybody said, but Ronnie, I really drew to that because we all have a position, right? Every team has got a, basketball team. The point guard has his role. Shooting guard has his role, right? But all 5 players on the team has to move together for the win, right? So, and if one person doesn't do the right play, then it can result in not being successful. So I love that part about it. And the 20 years, Janae, did I say it right?
Yeah.
Janae, the 20 years of finding your purpose, I love that. Because I did an engagement the other day and I talked about hide and go seek. right? And then how sometimes we just have to go back and just say that strongest proclamation that we said as kids, ready or not, here I come, and go get that purpose and fulfill that purpose. And because your transparency and our authenticity is what really helps to change and shape lives for people to come behind us. Right? Stephen Anthony King was the first guy I heard to say this quote from T.D. Jakes. He said, "If God was done with you, you'd be dead." So as long as there is purpose, breath in your body, there's purpose in our lungs. So I'm excited to hear how each of you turn your pain into your purpose and help to lift other people up.
Awesome. Thank you, D. Appreciate that. Charlotte, I want to go back to you. The intriguing part of your story, which got me, was the abuse that you endured. Give us kind of a sense of your mental state during that. And was there ever a point where you felt like giving up, and like, what was the extreme for you? When were you on the ledge, figuratively?
Well, the night that, I'll rewind back to the night that he threatened to kill me. I so happened to be pregnant at that time. And when he threw something at me and I ducked, I was like, this is not my story. This is not what I know, that this is not the purpose that God has called me to. And so that was one of the pivotal moments where I said, I got to get out of here. Yeah. But I was afraid to leave and afraid to stay. And so I didn't know what to do. So all I could do was pray. And that's what I did. I prayed. I was just like, Lord, either get him right or get me out of this. And I wound up losing the baby. But again, I went home. I left my job. I had 2 jobs, and had left the car and just told my mama, I need to come home. So I went to Detroit and I stayed home. And that's when I was the lowest, where I was just like, look, I don't have the job. He's got the car because they said it was community property. And I don't know when or if I'll get that back. I had to leave my housing situation, my townhome, and everything. I had to leave it behind, only to realize from that voice that I know was God telling me, you're worth saving. It was all of the stuff, all of the degrees, all of the 25 years of experience as an educator and or therapist, that none of that mattered. It was all about me at that point. And that's when I realized that was the lowest and the darkest, but that was also the brightest, because I realized, look, I've got to get past this. I do believe that thoughts are a suggestion, and our thoughts are a direct correlation in our actions and what we see and what we say. So we have to be careful of our thoughts. And I always tell my clients, sometimes thoughts are suggestions. If somebody gives you a steak dinner and they present it on a garbage can lid, are you going to say, oh yeah, give it to me, I love steak, I want that on the garbage? No, I don't want it on the garbage can lid. So when those thoughts come, you can redirect those thoughts. Is it easy? No. But you can absolutely redirect those thoughts and turn them into thoughts that are positive and powerful and impactful.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to make one point, and it's to Ronnie's point about action. You talked a lot about prayer, but prayer without action is wishing. You took action.
Without works is dead. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
You took action. A lot of times, I'll speak for me. A lot of times in the past, I put too much of the responsibility on the divine source. Mm-hmm. And I sat back and while I'm waiting on God, I'm waiting on God. And I realized that God is waiting on me.
Right.
And I've learned that, through my challenges with my eyesight, that God will meet you at your level of effort.
Absolutely.
So keep going. Just keep going. When you think you can't, just take one more step. Anybody can take one more step. Just one more step. And I believe we've got back Katrina. Katrina, welcome.
Yes. Thank
you. How are you?
Good. Yes. And you? My
I'm
connection.
Well. Thank you.
So thank you for getting back.
Absolutely.
I am Katrina Hayes. And you heard, I am a coach. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. and I am also an autism advocate. And how did the two have meshed? How? I am the mother and sister of individuals with special needs. And so when I started my advocacy business, women, mostly women, were contacting me. And the women were in a very heightened state, which is totally understandable, given that their children's needs were not being met. They were not feeling seen and heard. And so before I got to the advocacy part, I would have to actually coach people. And so it became a normal process of where a parent would call me at 100, and I would have to bring them down at a level to where they could hear me, they could process what I was saying, and take the plan and run with it, or either take the plan and have me advocate for their child.
Awesome. That's awesome. When did you know you wanted to get into this work? And first of all, I commend you. I think it takes a very special individual to care for a child with special needs, and or a family member with special needs. I think it takes a heightened level of patience, compassion, empathy, and fortitude. When did you know you wanted to get into this work and kind of help the world?
That is a good question. Being that I was a sister first, and dealing with behavioral issues, because a lot of children with special needs have challenges with social situations and have behavioral challenges. And it just became so natural that I was focusing on children. And then those children had parents. And so it just all became aligned. I always was the girlfriend that you can come to and confide in, and I won't run your business in the street. And so it's just been step after step after step. I volunteered with organizations where, again, I dealt with women in a telephonic nature when they were having challenges in their own lives. And so the process of professional, my profession, and then the personal experience just merged, and it just became very natural. Not many people who advocate in an educational capacity are able to have that same capacity to deal with mental health.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, we applaud you and what you're doing and your cause for sure. Ronnie, tell me a little bit. I'm the guy. I come to you for business. Help me with my coaching. Help me expand my clientele. Get me some funnels. But I start talking to you a little bit about my life and I don't know if I can do it, Ronnie. Life's coming down on me. Every day I'm waking up, life is not showing up with lipstick and makeup on. Life is getting very ugly. It's getting harder and harder to get out of the bed. I don't have motivation. What are you telling me?
Comeback stories. Everyone loves a good comeback story. And no matter how, we all have ups and downs, let's face it. I've had health challenges, relationship challenges. So we all face those ups and downs. It's how quickly we can bounce back, right? Resiliency. And we all learn, right, from that. So some of the best business coaches are the ones who failed in business. Some of the best life coaches are the ones who failed in life. Best relationship coaches. Because what happens is we struggle and we want to help others to skip the same struggles that we have, right? So we all have that. I believe in Hawaii, we say aloha. Alo means to share. Ha means breath of life. In Hawaii, aloha doesn't just mean hello or goodbye. It means to joyfully share the breath of life face to face. Coaching, teaching, sharing knowledge. We all have an innate drive to share the aloha, right? To share. We either have passed it to our kids. I have 5 kids, 2 grandkids. So I want to share that. We have stories of journeys that we want either people to follow or to skip certain parts to help them. And there we all were going to face other challenges, and then we'll share those stories of how we overcame that. But to me, that's part of the human story. If you believe that we are spiritual beings in a human existence, right? Then share the journey, and we grow spiritually, right, through this journey. But then what? You know, everyone believes in some form or fashion that we pass down knowledge, right? Whether you believe it's universe, whether you believe it's God. Okay, all I'm saying is take action. So when someone comes to me and says, well, okay, I got this knowledge, and I say, okay, what are you going to do with it? What action are you going to do with it? And they're like, well, I feel like I should share it. I'm like, well, then share it. Well, what's stopping you? Well, I don't know the technology. I don't know the marketing piece of it. I just want to teach people. And I go, okay. So if I handle the marketing and technology, or I help someone, or I share it with you, or we do it for you, or if I can figure out the marketing and technology part of it, what then? What do you want to do? Open your mind. Think big, tsunami size. If you could change the world, how do you want to change the world? Once you get that out of the way, that meaning all of the excuses, then all of a sudden it opens the mind and like, well, if you handle this, I can do this, this, and this. That's where I want people to think. People tend to think about the challenges first, rather than, well, what would you do? Now, whether you believe in God, intention, universe, helping you, right? Manifestation. I hear that a lot, right? I'm going, all right. Well, what action are you taking? There. So that's the whole thing, is when a coach comes to me and says, I want to do this. Okay. First thing is, what's stopping you? We find out. I take that out of the equation. Then we move forward.
Awesome. That's great. I like to simplify it as well, and just call it, just do the next right thing, because plans and projections can be overwhelming if you're looking at the end result and all that has to be done to get to that end result. But it's really about just the next right thing. And that makes it much more palatable. It makes it less intimidating. Just do the next right thing. We want to jump to Janaea. Janaea, where does the coach go to be coached? When you're having those down moments, where do you go? What's your ritual to stay in a peak state of mind so that you're in position to give back to others?
Well, it's always about identifying where I'm in my own way and then seeking out the right person for that. My everyday rituals, I wake up, I meditate for an hour to an hour and a half, I do some writing, I go sit in the park and drink a coffee, like all of these things that keep my mind clear and my focus clear. And because I take that space, which so many people do not, as Carissa said, we're on our phones, we're constantly going. We're not connecting to the ground, to the earth. We're not slowing down. We cannot hear what's the next right step. So you've got to learn. One of the biggest things that I teach people, and this comes with process, and yes, it comes from healing the trauma and overcoming a lot of that stuff, a lot of that noise that gets in the way of us hearing what is the next right step. And so the more quiet you can be, the more you can actually hear and distinguish which is the good voice and which is the one that's led by fear. And here's the kicker, though. You can't make a wrong decision, because every decision is going to give you an opportunity to learn what you need to do to take the next right step. So there is actually no wrong step. If you choose to, as I did, not move to New York because maybe you want this relationship to work out, even though living in New York was your dream for however many years. Well, there were things I needed to learn that relationship taught me. And the previous and post things were not teaching me. So that me staying there set me up for being here. So just, we get so hung up on, I'm going to do it wrong or I have to do it perfect. Just trust that there is no wrong step. Just take a step.
I love that. And I also say the same thing about Ronnie as well. But if I'm coming to you, right, and I'm saying, how would you get me through a situation where I'm trying to find my purpose. You know, what can I do? I might be having some limiting beliefs. You know, how would you empower me to even go in a direction? And maybe Ronnie, you can tap into.
One of the big first things that I do with people is we start learning how to self-empower yourself, how to recognize your limiting beliefs, how to bring them to the surface. And I teach people how to rewire them out of their brain. I empower people to not have to step through it every time. Like, okay, I know I believe I'm not good enough. I know I believe I'm not good enough. I teach people to wire that stuff out of their brains so that they don't have to sit there and do affirmations day after day that will only take them so far because they're not deep within their spirit. As Carissa said, she said, you have to feel it, you have to step into it, and eventually the neural pathways will be there. I do a lot of processes that take you, it's almost like going faster. It is like going faster, basically. Instead of experiencing something 4,000 times till you actually get it, we get to have your unconscious mind get it in a very short amount of time. And this allows you to take those next steps that are closer to those bigger goals that you want quite a bit faster.
And
I think,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ronnie. It's your turn.
Darren, I was just thinking that the biggest thing that seems to stop people that I noticed, the very first thing at least, is imposter syndrome. I want to help. I've gone through this, but why would anyone listen to me? Why would anyone care? Even though I know someone might get a story, but there's all this hesitation about either people thinking that you're just an imposter, that you figured out a way, but that doesn't apply to everybody. There's all these different things that we play in our mind, right? Like, why would anyone listen to me? In the imposter syndrome, or what makes me different? If someone else is already teaching this or coaching this, why would anyone? What makes me different? Right? What would set me apart? So one of the first things we do when I work with coaches who are trying to build a brand, right, to get out there, it's like, well, let's create what I call a pipeline or pipe. Identify your purpose, then your interests, your passions, and your experiences. If we can identify all of those four things and align them as much as possible, where your purpose and then your interests, how they align with your purpose, your passions, the things that you would do 24 hours a day, if you could, and then your experiences, your history. What are those stories? What are the journeys? What are your career things you did in your career? When we can combine as much of that as possible, no one's going to have that exact profile, only you, right? Then I can build a brand. Obviously, I've got a surf theme. I'm from Hawaiian, so I can play off of the wave theme. Now we got a concept. We got a theme that can make you stick out. But once people feel like they're unique, they got a story to tell, it's amazing. Mindset, open. Oh, well, I am my personality. I am this. I have something to share. Then they feel more comfortable and they start to come out of their shell and they start to think, I have something to deliver. And then the second phase is, okay, now that we know who you are, right? Who are you? What is your personality? What is your role here in the world? Then we figure out, okay, what's your transformation? What transformation did you go through and how did you do it? Was it a 5-step system? Was it 7 steps? Let's identify how you transformed yourself, because typically you're your best avatar, right? You are the target audience. From that, we take it further.
Awesome. So thank you.
Awesome.
We're about to wrap, Darren. I just want to give the last word to Charlotte. Charlotte, in 1 minute, please tell our audience who is tuning in right now because they need help. What's your message to them? Whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's whatever it is, domestic violence, substance abuse. What is your message to them to make them or to give them the inspiration to keep going on in 1 minute or less?
You have been through 100% of your bad days. If you're here today, you have been through 100% of your bad days. Also, whatever you're endeavoring to do, remember, done, not perfect. Just do it. Do it afraid. No matter what it feels like, what it looks like, what you think about it, just do it. Get it out there. Fulfill your purpose. Move forward in your purpose. So do that. Live a life of thanks living. Everything is everything for a reason and for a season. Be thankful in all things. And don't forget to breathe. Breathe. We go through life and we're just taking these shallow breaths. We're not even breathing sometimes. Laugh, pray. And finally, we are created as human beings, not human doings. So just be.
Awesome. That is awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't know what happened to my camera, but I'm there. Just be. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, just be. Just be. Do the next right thing. You have to do the next right thing. Pray, but take some action. That's what I take from this group today. I want to thank all of you. And if you folks have information or if you have free gifts, we will be mentioning where the audience can go to get in contact with you further and get some of your free gifts that you may be offering. Ladies and gentlemen, the You Are Not Alone Mental Health Summit. We are having a fantastic time. So much value, so much information that we're learning. And it's just the beginning. It really is just the beginning.